Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome to a new video. My name is Prince Meyson. It's been a minute since I did a video, or yeah, it's been a minute since I did any video, not just a retouching video, any video. And I'm trying to bring you guys, a couple more retouching videos and like more videos on me shooting and tips and tricks and all that kind of stuff. I'm probably just going to ease myself into it gradually again and start bringing you guys a lot more content. But yeah, today we're going to be retouching this image. It was shot by a friend of mine, Kelvin. You should check him out on Instagram. He's oak_c. I'll put a link to his page in the description. This image was shot in Ghana. I also put a link to the model's page in the description. So I saw this image and I really liked it, so I was like, I'm just going to retouch and show you guys on YouTube how I retouched this image. Now this image looks really nice, and like straight out of the camera, it's a beautiful image. It looks really good, and I love the colors, the skin tone, how everything looks. I love the fact that she has red hair, and I just wanted to make it look I just wanted to exaggerate everything and make it look really good, and just make her stand out of the background very well. So what I did some little things in capture one. I brightened up the image. As you guys can see, I pulled in my whites right here for my levels, and my highlights, I dragged my highlights up, and my shadows, I brought my shadows to 15. So a lot of this things in the shadows could come up. This image was shot in RAW, so if you're looking to shoot, please shoot in RAW. You guys can see ISO 500, 1/4000th of a second, 1.4, a 35mm lens. This was shot with the Sony A7 III, actually, Sony A7 III. So for you guys that send me messages and ask if the color science of Sony is nice, I really like the color science. I don't have a problem with it. I've shot with Sony, I've shot with Canon. I work with whatever I have, basically. Now another thing I do in Capture One now is I reduce, or I take my sharpening all the way down to 0, because I just don't want to add any sharpening to my images. I feel like like almost every camera out now is really sharp, so I'm not trying to add any artificial sharpening to my images just yet, until maybe at the end I feel like I should add something. And some of you guys say I talk too fast, so I'm going to try to slow down today and explain. This is probably going to be a 2-part video, just break it down into different parts and tell you why I did everything that I did, or why I'm doing everything that I'm doing. So yeah, so now let's take this image to Photoshop and see what we can do with it. So now we're in Photoshop, and I'm going to show you the after of this image. So this is what it looks like after retouching. This is the before, and this is the after. As you guys can see, what I did was I exaggerated her red hair. I made it like a lot redder. It has this teal and orange look. You see the background, just made all this colors at the background stand out, and I made it more orange, and I made her stand out too. So I'm going to show you guys the grading and everything I did. You see the green leaves at the back, I changed them to like yellow, and they're kind of like yellowish and brownish at the same time. You see, it just looks really beautiful. So I'm going to show you guys how I got here. Now the first thing that I do when I bring an image into Photoshop is I create like a frequency separation layer. Now the reason why I'm doing that is I just prefer to remove blemishes with frequency separation. Some people just pick the clone stamp tool, they create another layer, or they use other tools. I just believe that there are different ways to get to wherever you want to get to in Photoshop, and the whole idea is about the end goal. It's not about how you get there, and that's just life in general. So now I'm just going to create this simple frequency separation action, which I put this action in the description of my frequency separation video, so you guys can check that out. I think I'll just put like a link in the description. You guys can check that out. If you know nothing about frequency separation, definitely check that video out too. I have a couple videos on frequency separation. You'll learn a lot. So my radius is 14, and I'm just going to click OK. Now I'm going to go to my high frequency layer, and I'm going to pick my clone stamp tool. So that's S on your keyboard. So now that I've picked my clone stamp tool, I'm going to make sure I'm working on just current layer, not current and below. Make sure my flow is at 100, my opacity is at 100, and I'm just going to zoom in and remove the blemishes on her face. Now you see, this is a scar. Typically, if this was like a portrait for a client, I would ask the client if they want me to remove the scar. If they say yes, then I'll take it out. If they say no, then I'll leave it. But for this particular image, I just want everything to be so smooth and silky. I'm not doing this because I'm trying to make it like realistic. I just want it to be like really nice and really beautiful. So I'm just going to take this guy out. So how you use the clone stamp tool is you just hold Option or alternate. On PC, you sample somewhere close to where you want to clean, and you're just going to, you know, wipe it up. Just sample and clean, sample and clean, sample and clean, sample and clean, sample and clean. And I'm just going to keep doing that for the rest of the image, and I'll make sure everything is really nice, and the skin texture, everything is even across her face. So I'm just going to do all this till I get this out of the way. So sample and clean, sample and clean, sample and clean. Make sure the skin textures are like all nice and even. Let's see where we're at right now. So this is our before and this is our after. So I'm just going to keep going till everything is good and everything is clean. Just take some of this strands of hair out of this place, and this one too. Yes, I'm just going to keep going till everything is nice and clean. Now when you do all this, sometimes zoom out to make sure, you know, you're not like messing your image up. I always do that. I always zoom out, always zoom out. Now most of the work that I do, if it's not like my commercial work, if it's just personal, you know, work, people are probably going to view it on social media, and nobody's going to look at your work like this, you know. So you have to put that back in your mind. Well, when you're retouching, you know, you have to retouch the way people are actually going to see your work. So now I'm going to finish up with this, and we'll move on to the next stage. So guys, we're done removing all the blemishes from her face. As you guys can see, look at the before, look at the after. We got everything, some little strands of hair here, the smile lines that she had here. We got rid of everything, but I am leaving her freckles, as you can see, because freckles are beautiful. So yeah, this is how this looks right now. Beautiful, nice, clean. She has amazing skin, and it's just not going to be too much work. So the next thing I'm going to do for this image is, as you guys can see, I didn't do anything with my low frequency, because typically when I do frequency separation, I'll pick the mixer brush tool and I'll use the mixer brush for my low frequency. But today we're going to be using dodging and burning, and the reason why I'm doing that is I want the freckles to stand out, and sometimes your mixer brush might not see some of her freckles as textures, and you might see it as stones, and it will just even everything out. So I want her freckles to stand out. I want her to still look natural and still look like she has everything that she has on her face, you know, after the image is ready, like after I'm done retouching the image. So what I'm going to do right now is create a dodge and burn layer. And all you have to do is come here, create a new curves adjustment layer, and for your dodge, you're just going to drag curves up a little bit from the middle. Just make it a little brighter. Then you invert that and you name that dodge. And for your burn, you do the same thing. Create a curves adjustment layer, and you drag this down a little bit from the middle, and you name this burn. Right, just going to drag this down here, and I'm going to invert this layer, put both of them in a group, and name it dodge and burn. So now that we have this, what we're going to do is that we're going to create an inverted check layer. So what I do with my inverted check layers is I just make sure that I can see everything without color, and everything is just inverted, so it's easier for me to see where, you know, she has some blotches that I have to clean. So I'm just going to show you guys that now. For everything that I'm doing right now, there's going to be an action. I'll put it in the description below, so you can download an action that's just going to create like a whole inverted check layer for you, and the whole dodge and burn layers that you need. Yeah, so I'm just going to give you guys an action. I'll do all that for you. It's going to be in the description below. So now that we have our inverted check layer here, what I'm going to do right now is show you guys exactly how this works. So once you click your inverted check layer, all you have to do is, if it's too dark and it's too contrasty, just turn off your brightness and contrast. Then open your your levels right here. So I'm just going to double click on my levels, and from my midtones right here, I'm going to drag down till I can see everything the way I want it. So somewhere around here is fine for this image, and you can see how this image looks. Now invert means that things are like flipped. So basically your whites or the bright parts of your images are going to be dark here, and the dark parts of your images are going to be bright. So basically that's what the invert this check layer does to your image. So if I uncheck this, you can see her nose right here is pretty bright. So if I turn on my inverted check layer, you can see the part of her nose right here that is bright is now black. So what it does is that it changes white to black and it changes black to white. So that's what your inverted check layer does. Now let's go to dodge and burn. Pick a soft round white brush. My flow is 5, my opacity is 50. Make sure the brush is soft and round. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to come to my dodge, and when you retouch with dodge and burn, you just have to brighten some parts of the images that are dark and darken some parts of the images that are bright to make sure everything is even. So let's come to this part of our head right here. As you can see, this is dark, so all I'm going to do is just use my brush, a small brush, to go over this in my dodge layer. So I'm just going to go over this. So as I'm going over it, it's getting lighter. So let's see the before and after. So I'm just going to go over it some more. If you're using the Wacom tablet, this is going to be so much easier for you, or if you're using any graphics tablet. So let's see, this is before and after. You guys can see what that little thing there has done. It has evened out that space there. But most times I can't really see everything that I would like to even out, and that's where my inverted check layer comes in. So once I click my inverted check layer, I can see right now everything that I'm supposed to work on, right? And remember this, your invert check layer inverts everything. So the bright parts of your images are going to be dark, and the dark parts of your images are going to be bright. So right now, when I'm on my dodge, I now have to dodge the bright parts of my image, because those are the parts that are actually dark, but it's just that your invert layer changes it, and it's just easier to see it. So I'm going to come to my burn now, and I'm just going to burn this part. So right here that my invert layer is checked, it looks like these areas are dark, but if I turn this off, you realize that these areas are the bright parts. So I'm just going to burn all these areas. I hope you guys get this. At first it's a little bit confusing, but once you start practicing, you get a hang of it. So I'm just going to go over all these places you see here, right here, and just keep burning these places. So what I'm just trying to do right now is even out her skin tones using dodge and burn. It might take a while, because yeah, definitely dodge and burn is more time consuming than frequency separation, but for some particular images, I just feel like it gives a better look overall than frequency separation. And there are times that frequency separation comes in really handy. Maybe you have to like work real fast and you have to deliver projects on time, then for projects like that I'll probably use frequency separation. But if I have to take my time and the image calls for dodge and burn, then I'll definitely use dodge and burn. So right now I'm just burning the bright parts of her face so it can actually blend in with the parts that are not too bright. So I'm going to turn off my inverted check layer, and I'll show you guys what I've done. See how you guys can see it before and the after. So this is the before and this is the after. This is the before and this is the after. And I'm going to do this for the whole image. So I'm going to show you guys another part now. You see underneath her eyes right here, I'm going to turn off my inverted check layer. You can see it's a little bit dark right here. So I'm going to come to my dodge, and I'm just going to work my magic here. I'm just going to paint over all this right here. Just going to paint over all this right here. So now we're going to, you can see some little dark patches here, right here. Okay, so let me show you guys the before and after for that part. So this is the before and this is the after. See what we've done there. Now typically when I'm doing this, I'm just a little bit zoomed out like this when I'm working on this. Can you guys see that? See that? So let's work on this area again just to show you guys how this works. So now I'm just going to come to my burn and just go over this area right here. So like I said, this takes a lot more time than frequency separation. Frequency separation is typically a lot faster, but it might just not give you the perfect result for an image like this, and that's why I am using dodge and burn. So now I'm just going to show you guys what this looks like. See, so let's turn off the invert check layer before and after. So you guys can see we've gotten some of the highlights here down. See, before and after. And we're just going to do this for the whole image. I can see some things here, so I'm going to turn on my inverted check layer and just go over all these places, make sure everything is just the way I want it to be. Come to my dodge, just go over some of these places. Now make sure that the brush size that you're using is just relative to the area that you're trying to work on. So let's turn our check layer off and see how before and after. You can see I fixed a little bit of that. So I'm going to do this for the whole image. Like I said, this is time consuming and I don't want to keep you guys here. I just want to show you guys how I get this done. So I'm going to do this for the whole image and I'll come back. Okay guys, welcome back. So we've done this for the whole image and I want to show you guys the before and the after. Before and the after. Before and the after. So this is what this looks like right now. Looks really good. Look at it before and after. This is just dodge and burn, and her face looks really nice. Everything is evened out and her skin looks amazing. So the next thing I'll do after this is your general dodge and burn. Basically it's just like I'm going to work on my highlights and work on my shadows and just make sure that some things pop a lot more than others and just make her stand out. Typically when you're done with your dodge and burn, the image tends to look a little bit flat, so you need to now dodge and burn globally. That's global dodge and burn, so that the features on her face can stand out, and that's what we're going to do right now. So we're going to create the dodge and burn layer and do that. So I'm just going to curves adjustment. This is going to be my dodge. And I'll invert my mask. Then create another curves adjustment layer. And this is going to be my burn. Invert my layer mask. And name this burn. Then I'll put both of them in a group, and it's going to be global DNB. So that's global dodge and burn. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pick a brush, put my opacity to 100, and my flow I'll set it at 2. And now I'm just going to go in and dodge and burn globally. So dodge, what I'm going to do is now I'm going to dodge the highlights, bring them out, you know, this part of her cheeks right here. Just going to bring this out so you guys can see. Just add a little more shine to this place, and it's typically like a little more even shine, unlike before her forehead, you know, because the light's probably coming from up here. Just brighten her forehead up a little bit. Her nose, you know, this part underneath her eyes here, just add some light here. Then underneath her chin too, you know. If you haven't seen my video on dodge and burn, you should definitely check it out. I'll link it in the description below. Definitely check that out. It's going to be a lot more in depth than this. So yeah, so this is me just dodging and burning globally. So I'm going to come here to my burn and just burn her cheekbones right here, you know, probably her forehead, bring some shape into the forehead back, and underneath here her chin, just add some here. This is me burning. Then here under her lips. Now I'm going to just come down to my dodge again, And I hope you guys can see me working on this. I hope my cursor has not disappeared. Or is it cursor? I don't know. Hope it has not disappeared, because it does that sometimes. And it's really annoying when it does that. So let's see our... And let's zoom out now. Before, after. It looks really nice. Typically, I'll take my time to do this to just make sure that it's a lot nicer than this, but for this video I'm just trying to show you guys how to get to this point. Now I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys are going to be ready for the part 2. So if you have an image, bring your image out and try these things that I just showed you guys. This is me retouching. This is how I'll retouch an image like this, and the next video I'm going to show you how I'll grade this image. So let's go from the beginning again to where we are at right now. So the first thing we did was frequency separation. Remove every blemish that she has on her face and make sure her face is nice and smooth and ready to go. The next thing we did was dodge and burn retouching. We have 2 layers of that, and do not forget, turn on your inverted check layer, and that way you can see everything. And inverted check layers, and what it does is just inverts your images. The bright parts of your images will now look dark, and the dark parts of your images will now look bright, and that way it's easier for you to see where to dodge and where to burn, and it's just easy for you. So now that we've done this, let me show you what it looks like. See, the image looks really smooth right now compared to before. Can you see the transition between the highlights and the shadows look really smooth right now? And that's just what it does. So make sure you learn how to use your inverted check layers. It's just really nice, to be honest. It's like I always struggled to use dodge and burn, and now that I know how to use this, it's just like way easy for me. So definitely practice this, and this is my global dodge and burn, just to make her stand out a bit more. So let's go back and I'll show you guys the before and and the after. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, do not forget to go hawk smash on that like button, and also subscribe to this channel. Turn on notifications, because I'll be putting out a second video to show you guys how I graded this image. And let me show you what that looks like. This is what it looks like. This is before and this is after. I'll be showing you guys how I graded this image, and it's just amazing. Trust me, this is going to help you to get that lovely teal and orange type of look when you have an image like this. So yeah, it's just like, you know, just simple, straight to the point, and I'm pretty sure you love to see that video. So do not forget to subscribe. Also follow me on all my social media platforms, which is basically me saying follow me on Instagram, because I'm only active on Instagram. And yeah, it's Prince Meyson on Instagram. Do not forget to follow me, send me a DM if you have any questions you want to ask. I try my best to answer as many questions as I can. So yeah, thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have an amazing day. Peace.